Hi, this is Micah and Andrew Pisher, the Green Man, and we had some epiphanies at lunch because of our own dynamic that we've experienced in our own romantic relationship and how our imbalanced selves affected our romantic relationship. We agree that have the tendency of the love addict in that relationship as well as previous ones. And as you know from previous videos I posted, that it is typical for a love addict to show love avoidant tendencies, as it would be for love avoidant to show love addict tendencies. So Andrew would be more typically the love avoidant, but when I go into avoidant mode, which is now, to be honest, then he goes in more addict mode. And it's a typical dynamic, but not a lot of couples actually talk about it. So we knew we needed to take a break from having a romantic or defined relationship so that we can figure out that balance without having to feel like we answer to another person or for our choices and actions while we figure out what that balance is. But we can't help, because we love each other, to come back and revisit some of the things we're learning and how we would show up in the relationship in unhealthy ways and what that can teach us about ourselves as individuals. Is that about right?
Oh yeah.
So Andrew had this really great epiphany around it when we had this talk at lunch today, because we talk about it a lot because we're really trying to learn and grow and make ourselves better people, whether we end up back together in a romantic relationship or with other people. We've kind of accepted that'll play out how it's meant to. But we want to be the best people we can and help other people who know this pattern. So I'm going to let Andrew show you his little illustration that he came up with that helped him understand the dynamic between a love avoidant and love addict.
And one thing you said that we're trying, I don't think that we're trying. I think we're making leaps and bounds, and
Yeah,
we're
that's
definitely
totally
on that
true.
path. So we're not really trying. That's our aim. Instead of setting goals, it's important to know what direction you want to go. And you can set goals, obviously, and you can hit them as long as they go with that alignment. But this is our overall direction. So we're aiming to work this relationship out because we both feel like we belong together. And we know we do. It's just that we are being opposites all the time. When I am showing being a love avoidant, she ends up being a love addict.
Needy.
And then vice versa, when she starts to withdraw and becomes a love avoidant because she's like, oh, I gotta get away from this, then I become the love addict because I start to lose her, and then my achiever thing kicks in. It's
And there's a
crazy.
lot of
So
intensity.
there's a
Like
lot
the
of
and the
intensity.
intensity, and you can get really attached to the dynamic of the intensity of the back and forth
So
too.
that's where this comes in. So this is a pole. This is a spectrum. Okay, this is a spectrum of yin and yang energy. This being yin, it's the receiving end. It has a female inlet. And this being yang, it's got a male piece, and it's doing. This is receiving. And here's the balance. We made it green because of the green chakra is always the balance. The heart chakra is the balance of our human energy. So we used the green color, and we used the red to show the fire of the yang, and we used the blue to show the cool receiving of the yin. And what we realized is this, instead of this being our balance, her and I'm more out here on the yang energy, doing more yang, and she's over here on the yin, doing more receiving. And what we're doing is we're moving back and forth. We're moving towards balance. And when we're at the most balanced point we can be, we sometimes see that balance and then run back the other way, and we go to a very extreme of either one. So I go to an extreme state of doing, and she goes into an extreme state of being and a receiving. Right now the script is flipped, so it's kind of weird. I'm going through a lot of personal stuff right now that's really showing how I am in the receiving mode. I mean, I've completely altered my entire existence for at least the next month
Yeah.
and actually the next year. That's a whole different story that we're not going to get into right now. But what we've realized is that this pole isn't really just a pole with two extremes. They're actually connected because the yin, the receiving, and the yang both have the connecting pieces. And when you fold them into each other and the yang gets into the yin, you actually have a triangle. And it could actually be a circle too, but the triangle is going to help us define the extremes of each individual. So now you will see, because I'm more of a yang personality and energy, I hang out here. This is my center. This is my extreme yang doing and then this is my extreme yin. And this is really why we're not getting to each other, because we're getting too involved with our extremes. But you'll notice that these reflect into each other when we're both balanced as a person. It brings balance right down to the center. So these reflect onto our balanced selves. And when did we realize? There's an exercise we want to help people with these types of relationships. Like, well, do you ever feel like the relationship is balanced? And
Are
I
there
say
ever moments?
there are moments where you felt like it's perfect, the relationship's perfect. And obviously we do have those moments, in my eyes, especially because I know that's why I'm with her, because I know we can achieve those perfect moments. And then someone might say in the relationship that we don't ever have those moments. So what was your, because they want to dodge.
Because you can get really attached to the intensity of it too. So sometimes people will say, well, I don't know if we've ever felt a balanced point, or they don't relate to anything. Then you can say, well, when was there a time in your relationship when you were together where you felt the least unbalanced? And if you can reflect on those times and what was going on and have a dialogue, because that's pretty much what brought us to here, is because we had a dialogue around, he said, when, like, for instance, when we go camping, and then we were really able to break down, when the realities of life aren't there, how we show up for each other and how we show up for ourselves first, really, and what our triggers would be with each other that throw us into the intensity. Because you can see when he goes to intense yang, I go into very intense yin and I withdraw. I'm also an introvert and he's an extrovert. So I just take it on and take it on and take it on, and he's very good at expressing, but it can be imbalanced. So when we're balanced, we complement one another and help each other learn and grow from because we can see how we affect other people when we're at either extreme. And then when we're balanced together, it reflects on when we're balanced in a partnership.
Yeah. And when we clash, when I go very yang, it's really crazy, because if I go super yang, she goes super yin, and vice versa. If she goes super yang, I go super yin. And what happens is we clash into each other so hard that we go reverberating back.
Yeah.
And we go past our point of balance because we're trying so hard to get back to that other extreme. So then we fly back down here. And then we hit that extreme. And then we're down here on the corners. It's not staying together like it used to. Aw. Here, I'm gonna make it. I've got problem solving skills to make it stay. One moment, please. Okay. So then when we're down here, this is when we're the furthest apart. We're so far apart we can't even really see each other to get to the balance.
Kind of like ping pong off of each other. So we hit that extreme and then bam to the other extreme. So right now, it's almost like a pendulum swing of vibration changes. And we're both trying to figure out our own vibration. And then when we interact, we don't interact as much. So that when we do, we can recognize the changes and the fluctuation in those vibrations. What triggers us, what makes us feel more balanced or centered. And then we can reflect on that when we part also, and be clear about claiming what we need if we start to feel intensity or the urge to get to one extreme or the other. Then we have a conversation around it. Even if it's just like friends that want to help each other see the patterns and how this affects our work, our businesses, all that stuff.
Yeah. And so what you'll be able to see here with this visual is when we're both at the extremes and we clash into each other, and whoever's being more yang overpowers the one who's being more yin, and then the one that's being, it's like an unstoppable force of yang meets an immovable object of yin, and when they hit each other, they go back towards the other extreme so hard. And the reason we do that is because we're trying to connect. We're trying to find that balance. So we hit each other at our worst, and then we go, oh crap, we gotta go the other way, and we go so far and so fast with such force that we hit these other corners. And we think that if we hit that other corner, if I take my yang energy and reverse it and go to my yin, and remember, because this is her yin, her yang. This is my yang, my yin. So I'm trying to go back to the yin to match her yin, so that we can be balanced, because I'm trying to get to this point, but it's an illusion. We really, for me to have a healthy relationship with another person, I have to be balanced myself. And she has to be balanced herself. And then they reflect that balance in the center. So that is the mind blower that we had today.
That's a...
Yeah.
So hopefully it translates for the rest of you.
Yeah, maybe we just are crazy and
you're
this doesn't make
welcome
any
to say
sense.
so.
Yeah, let's say
in the comments.
if you tell us that this doesn't make sense, we'll take your word for it. But to us right now,
it
this
helped
works.
us. But the key, I think, if you take anything away from it, even if this doesn't work for you and it sounds like a bunch of gibberish, find something with a partner in your life where you feel this dynamic happening, and say, when do we feel most balanced? What moments did I feel the most connected to you and the most balanced? The most balanced in myself and in this relationship we have, whatever the relationship is. And I think if you do that, you might come up with your own little epiphanies. And if you do, we would love to hear them, because the more we communicate about this stuff with each other and other people, I think the more we can all work through and have healthier relationships with one another, whether they're romantic or not.
Exactly. I love that.
So that's our goal. Anything else?
No, I'm just happy that we figured this out. I feel really in a very elevated space.
Yes, it is.
I feel like I'm right here.
And it's making me tired. So I'm up in here somewhere, but I'm a little more balanced, but I want a nap.
Thanks a lot for watching. Like
Bye.
and share.
Yes, please.
Let people know. There's people that are going through this. There's people that are in this love addiction, love avoidant relationship.
Dynamic, yeah. So message me your comment, and we'll both, even if I have to ask him, we'll do our best to help you out. Thank you.